welcome in Huntsville. Another wonderful good morning to you. Thanks for waking up with us. What do you love about Huntsville? What makes this a great place to be?
Everyone here is very genuine and very kind and friendly. You never hesitate to speak up and say hello or good morning or just acknowledge the person walking by.
The thing that I love most about Huntsville, I love the peace that Huntsville brings. I love the peace that it gives me.
I feel accepted and part of the town and like I belong here.
Huntsville is where my lovely wife lived when I met her, so I moved here. So I'm pretty thankful for her.
All right.
We're bucking for you in Huntsville, Texas. Hello, I'm Billy Cobbin, the Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home.
Hey, it's Kay Boating with Tomorrow's Promise Montessori Schools.
Good morning, Huntsville.
Good morning.
Hey, I'm Karen.
I'm Toy. And I'm Denise.
And from all of us at Walker County Federal Credit Union, good morning, Huntsville.
Check it out. Who is this?
Good morning.
T-Dub in the house. Do you ever go by T-Dub?
That's funny. I call my son D-Dub because his middle name is Wesley. His name's Darren Wesley. So I call him D-Dub. But no, I've never been called T-Dub.
We got T-Dub in the house. A little sweet tea this morning. Sweet tea. There you go.
There you go.
I'm not a sugar-free tea kind of. Do you like tea?
I do like tea.
Have you ever been called sweet tea before?
I have never been
Man,
called.
we got the nicknames flying all over then. So, well, I went by, there was a rapper back in the day named Big Rob. No, it was Black Rob. There was a rapper. Do you remember this rapper named Black Rob? Like, whoa, the song, like, whoa. Dun, 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 like, whoa.
No, but I'm sure
Great.
maybe you just don't rap it as well.
I don't.
Don't recognize your beat.
Whoa, that camera's, well, let's switch back to that one. There we go. If Denise Olivas was here, she would know that song.
She absolutely would know it.
She picks up those songs. So that was my nickname back in high school. They called me after that rapper. And so everybody would walk by and they'd be like, whoa, like, whoa. And so that's how we're going to start the show this morning. So,
All right.
Or do they ever call you T-Pain instead of like, yeah, T-Pain, the rapper.
I have a friend that calls me T-Dog.
T-Dog, okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, if you're joining us this morning, let us know your nickname. Maybe you don't even know Toy, but you know what? You come up with a nickname. So that's going to be the theme of the show this morning.
All righty.
It's what are we going to nickname Toy today? So, hey, Jennifer Augustinetti, she remembers it. She knows who I'm talking about like whoa. All right, well, welcome in as we get rolling here on this magnificent, marvelous, masterful, not a mundane Monday. It is episode 323, and we're so excited to be here this morning. Another week, another great opportunity to get started and to celebrate all the good things happening here in our community. As we get started, big shout out to Paul Oley of the Gallery. Paul, we love you, man. Appreciate all that you do for all of your custom framing, photography, and more. It's Paul Oley of the Gallery, 1201 University. A big, huge thank you to Elliot Herzlich, Elliot's Jewelers, online at elliotsjewelers.com. We'll have Elliot on the show probably next week. We've been coordinating a time. In fact, he scheduled a time to come on. They are having it's like a jewelry estate sale. Sounds kind of cool. So
Can we afford it?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, maybe. There may be some. Yeah, have you ever been to an estate sale?
I have not.
Never.
I see them out in Elkins all the time, but I've never been to one.
Have you ever like wondered what they are?
No, I don't. I don't want anything else in my house.
Okay, so well,
I want to have an estate sale.
I'm a rummager, all right? I'm a rummager. Bridget doesn't like it. In fact, when we first got together, and this was back when I had my house in Georgetown, I had books piled all over my living room. I just was like a book hoarder. You know, you've seen the TV show Hoarders? Like, I had books like that. You could get in the house. It wasn't like horribly.
You didn't have a
horrible.
little path to get you.
Well, in the living room there was books stacked everywhere, and Bridget just went nuts, and and understandably and deservingly she did, and she goes, "You got to do something with all these books." And I was so frustrated, anyways. It was one of those frustrated days, that you have from time to time.
Throw them all out.
I told her, I said, "Do whatever you want with them." I didn't want to deal with it. I come home, they're all gone. I was like, where are my books at? And I'd read most of them, too. She thought I just collect. I was like, no, I read most of these books. She took them to Goodwill.
Careful what you wish for.
Well, then and I'm glad someone got them. Well, 3 weeks later, I'm looking for my grandpa's old Bible that my mom gave me.
Oh, God.
Guess what? It was in that stack of books.
Were you able to find it?
No, did not find it. But I didn't hold it against her. And here's the cool part of the story. My dad passed a couple of months ago. My mom was going through some of his things, and there was another one of my grandpa's Bibles. So she goes, here's this one. Now it's a little bit more torn up, but I have it on my desk up at church, and that meant a lot. So at least I've got one of them somewhere out there. Somebody's enjoying the other one.
There you go.
And then, did you ever keep?
Maybe it needed to be there, make a difference in somebody's life.
It did. It needed to be. There's a message in that. Well, the words of the Bible are what they need, not what was written in it. The other thing too. I was going to ask you something. We were talking about. It was weird. I was talking to you, and then I looked at the screen and I saw something, and it just went like this. That's how Mondays go sometimes.
That's how my mind is all the time.
Boy, it was a really good question.
Since
too.
I'm closer to 50 now, that tends to happen a lot more often than I like.
You forget a lot of things
all the time.
Does it ever scare you? Are you like?
Yes, it irritates me.
Have you ever ran across somebody that and then you just forgot their name?
Well, probably shouldn't say this out loud.
Maybe keep the name anonymous.
I will never say names. No, but I bump into people that, I've lived in Huntsville my entire life. So, you see people that you've grown up with, and you recognize them because you recognize them, that, and everybody's aging. And so, it's just, I know the younger version of them, and I probably know who they are then, but now I'm like looking at these people and I'm like, I know this person, but they've aged and they're not the same. And so it's just, yeah. So that memory thing, yeah. So.
Well, I just remembered it popped back into my head. So I was talking about all these books, all right, and we were talking about the estate sale. So I'm pretty sure. Let me start with this. Did you ever keep a journal? Like, did you write in it?
Oh, I was a girl. We had diaries.
So don't make fun of me, all right? You're probably already thinking what I'm about to tell you. But when did you stop writing in yours? Do you remember? Or do you still have one? Do you ever still?
No, I do not.
Okay.
And my stuff would not be. I wouldn't want to record things that come to my mind now. I probably was 10, 12, somewhere around in there. Probably whenever I started socializing, more as a preteen teenager.
Well, we were taught. I went to this. It was kind of like an internship through a church I used to go to back in Georgetown, and they encouraged us to keep notes and like a journal daily, just so you can go back. And so I had this nice little book, and and it's not like there was horrible stuff in there, but there was like thoughts in there of things. I'm like, man, I don't know if I ever want that getting out, but I need.
That's why I said you don't want what's in here needs to stay in here.
Yeah, and I mean, it wasn't like anything incriminating or anything terrible or anything like that. It was just like, maybe like if I felt ill will towards someone, I wrote in there like, man, I had a bad day. I was thinking about, but I've asked for forgiveness and to get over that kind of stuff. It's nothing horrible, but it was still stuff that I would consider very private and personal. Well, hence, why did I write it down? Well, we were kind of encouraged, write it down so you can visually see it and pray about it. And so I wrote it down. Well, guess what I think was in all those books? Bridget, I was thinking of this the other day. She's watching. Bridget, sweetheart, I think that little journal was in there and all those books that got given to Goodwill.
Oh, my goodness.
So,
was your name in it?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Somebody's going to come back and blackmail you.
No, but there was nothing bad in there. It really wasn't. It was just like, like if I had a bad day, I was like, today was a bad day, and, I said this and shouldn't have, those kind of things, But I was sitting there thinking the other day, I was like, I bet you anything that thing was in all those books she gave to Goodwill.
Somebody's probably put it in a time capsule.
Maybe so. Well, so going back to the estate sales, man, they're really fun. It's like you pull up to a garage sale and there's like stuff out in the driveway and that's it. An estate sale, the whole house is for sale. Like everything's in there. So they'll hire a company to come in, and I'm sure the company gets a commission on, they keep 50% or whatever. Well, you're exactly right about Elkins. There was one the other day that was going on. Mm-hmm. And so, those old cluttered thoughts started coming back in of like, man, I need to go see what junk they got. Those I call them cluttered thoughts, junk I don't need. Mm-hmm. So I just pulled over and you know this. I hate when those things go on because they block all the road you can't get through, right?
Oh, it was very irritating.
I'm usually the guy beating on my steering wheel like, please get out of the way.
I don't know what irritates me more, the golf carts or the cars parking on the side of the road.
It's kind of a mixture. And it's a mixture when it's these days. So I pull over on a side street. It was a little bit of walking, but I didn't want to, because I'm thinking about if I was driving through, I'd be frustrated. So I didn't want to inconvenience people. So I pulled over and parked on a side road that was completely out of the way. Man, I walk in there. I was like, that goes off. I was like, man, there's so much cool stuff in this house for sale. And I ended up, it's kind of you never know what you're going to find, right? So we had some light bulbs that were out. Well, they had like a whole pack of these LED bulbs for like $5. Done. So that was a good deal. And I've always wanted one of these, man, I'm going to sound like a moron because I can't print. Galileo, mm-hmm. Is that like the science-y space guy, Galileo, or whatever you
I don't know. When you say that, it reminds me of somebody singing it.
Okay, well, that's it. So Galileo, they have a Galileo thermometer. I've always wanted. You've seen one of these. I didn't know what it was called, but once I describe it, you've seen it. It's those glass tubes.
Oh, okay.
That you're
yep.
already picking up what I'm putting down? So it's the glass tube, comes to a point, and it's got those little bulbs in there of different colors.
We have one at home.
That's a Galileo thermometer.
Did not know that.
I didn't know it either. I took a picture of it. I used ChatGPT, and I said, what is it? I love ChatGPT. You can ask it anything, and even pictures now. The other day I was wondering, I've always wanted to know what that putty was in between the concrete. Like when this is so random, but when they lay concrete, they'll either put wood in between the joints or they put that real thick putty, right? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about? Or on windows they put it. Well, the reason I thought of it is because all that wood is rotting in between our driveway now. I was like, what am I going to fill this with? And some neighbor goes, oh, you need to get that concrete putty. So I took a picture at church. I saw it in our parking lot. I was like, that's the stuff I need. But I didn't know what it was called. Took a picture of it at church. This was yesterday. This ChatGPT, the people that run this should be paying me money for endorsing them. I mean, I use it every day. And so I asked it, let's see. See? Here, and I'm showing this right here to Toy. So see that stuff? That's what are you following me?
Yeah.
So, and for all of you out there, you're like, what are you talking about, Rob? This is so random. Check this out. People are dropping off the show like, flies right now, but check this out. So that stuff right there. All right, people got a good view of that. So I asked ChatGPT, this is what's so cool about technology. I said, what is this putty called in between the concrete? Just asked it a question. Isn't that cool? It responds, the putty in between the concrete and your image is called concrete joint sealant or concrete expansion joint sealant. The material is used to seal joints between concrete slabs, preventing water and protecting the integrity. Isn't that crazy?
Interesting.
Yeah, you can ask it anything, and and you got to you got to double check because sometimes it lies to you. It makes up stuff.
Just Google it.
Yeah, that's the new Google for me.
Okay.
And you can even ask it, go out and search the internet and give me information based on what you find on the internet, and it does it all on its own.
Interesting. I've never heard of that. So
the other day I said, how do I get $1 million in my account at Walker County Federal Credit Union?
How do you do that?
It replies, you'd want to know this, right?
Absolutely.
It said, get up every day, work hard, spend money responsibly, save responsibly. And
how do you do that?
And in 100 years, you may have 10% of what you need.
There you go.
So, but anyways, it was cool. I got the Galileo bulb thermometer. I didn't know what it was called, so I took a picture. I said, what is these things called? I knew what they were, but I didn't know what they were called. And it told me, said, that is a Galileo thermometer. And I got that thing for like $10, and I learned how to read it. Do you know how to read them?
Well, ours has the temperature hanging from from each of the bulbs, so yeah.
So I didn't know how to read them either, right? Because those bulbs move around based on what the temperature is, and it'll say like 80 degrees, 78, 72. The way that you read those, there's always a group of them at the very top, and there's always one at the bottom. There's usually one or two down at the bottom.
Okay.
So what you do is you take the temperature from the one at the very bottom. So let's say it's hanging on 78, right? The one at the very bottom says 78. Then you go to the top, and whichever one is on the bottom of all the ones grouped at the top, you take that. So if it's like 62, you add those two numbers together, divide by 2, and that's the temperature. Never knew that.
Man, me either.
The things you learn on this show.
I mean,
And it was accurate because we keep the house at 68.
I just assumed whatever one was hanging the lowest was the temperature. I didn't know. Obviously, I don't depend on that, and I'm starting to get to where I don't depend on the weather app either.
Yeah, no joke. And when I thought of all this, I was like, that's too much math because I can't add that quick in my head. I'm like, if I just want to know the temperature, I'm like, hey, Google, what's the temperature outside?
Exactly.
And it'll tell me. So, look, it just did right there.
There you go.
All right. Big thank you as well, as we've been chatting to Walker County Federal Credit Union. They are our Monday co-host. We're here with Toy Williamson, and her name's on the checks. When I go in there to get I like to get checks. This is another service y'all offer that I just didn't even think about that I use quite frequently now. I don't like writing personal checks because I have to depend on somebody cashing it, and then I just, with everything going on, let's just say I'm not good at keeping those records.
I can tell you right now, the U.S. mail is not reliable, and it's caused a lot of issues for people who write checks and mail checks still. So
We just got a check in the mail from we did like a little promotional thing, and it wasn't a huge check, small check, but every little bit adds up, right? Well, they had sent us that way back in May. I just got it the other day. It's all tore up when I finally got it. And I called and said, hey, I got it. Don't send another one. And it was still good enough to cash. But what I love about you guys, and, not many people write checks anymore. If you need one, this is what I do. Maybe what I'd recommend anyone else does. Go into your local credit union, like Walker County Federal Credit Union. If you're not a member, go sign up and get an account because you can take advantage of this service. I think it's only like $1 or something, or no more than $3. I don't know what the charge is. It's not much. But I love when I have to do a check, I go to you guys. It's almost like a money order or something because it automatically comes out of my account, and I don't have to worry about it. I keep that receipt, and if they never cash it, then I can just come back to you guys, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we reconcile those, and if it's not cashed in a timely manner, then we have to
refund the money,
void it, and give it back or whatever, or we cheat it to the state or whatever the circumstances are, depending on who's payable to and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I love using that though, and I only have to do it.
It's not your problem; it's ours.
Yeah, it's like I don't have to worry about it. How y'all worry about it? But it's really cool because I don't have to worry about that money, and that's what I love about the bill pay too. The bill pay comes out pretty quick, and so I'm talking about y'all services this morning. Online bill pay, if you need checks, the whole 9 yards. I don't know why they say the whole 9. I've never figured it. 10 yards is to a first down, by the way.
I don't know.
9 yards, you're not going to get a first down. So the whole 10 yards.
We'll change that.
You ever heard that phrase?
I have, but I didn't. Now that you say that,
it doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
Because you need 10 yards to get a first down, right?
Maybe they're not talking about football. I don't know.
No idea. So, anyways, go to Walker County Federal, and Toy and the staff there will take excellent care of you. They always do, and they take care of it for me as well. It's just Toy and I hanging out today. We do have a busy week as the week goes on. I want to remind folks this morning before we take our first break, by the way, a very dear friend in this community, no longer with us. His service will be today at 10 a.m. over at Calvary Baptist Church. That's there on 19, right next to Advantage Specialties. Randolph Thompson, who had Granny Mary's Cajun Asian Cuisine. Lord called him home a couple of weeks ago, and they're having the service today. So we're going to be there at that service. And if you knew Randy or you just want to be there to support the family, if you've ate at his trailer, just food trailer.
Good stuff.
Yeah, and that's going to be no more, unfortunately. The family had posted yesterday or a couple days ago that it was kind of heartbreaking for them because they were over there cleaning out everything. And boy, talk about the goodness of this community. Somebody had went over there and left a beautiful white ribbon on the fence that had his name on it.
That's sweet.
And so just want to encourage, if you have a chance or you knew Randy or you visited his wonderful food trailer just down the street from us, 10 a.m. this morning is his service. And I believe that David Beatty is officiating over that service. I know it's over at David's church this morning. That's the good of this community, always there and always supporting folks. I was thinking about it, Toy, and man, this will be the third service that I've went to in the last 7 days. We had one up in Athens. A friend of mine lost his father, and they had that service last week. I believe it was on Wednesday, so I drove up there. By the way, that drive is beautiful. You've been up there to Athens? You just stay on 19.
Oh, okay.
And you go through Palestine, that whole area, and then you keep going, and then there's Athens, Texas right there. It's just beautiful, beautiful drive. And went to that service, and then Saturday a family had reached out to me that I grew up with and officiated that service on Saturday for a very dear family back in Georgetown. And it was cool because it was the church that we all grew up in. And it's amazing how life comes full circle. I never would have imagined, not talking about me, but just saying this story, because I never would have imagined that, 20 years later I would be officiating a service in that same church that I grew up in. And there were so many people that we grew up with that were there. The church, it was an old school Baptist church, so they have an upper level and a lower level. The first thing I noticed was they got rid of the green carpet. We had this green carpet in there, and it was beautiful wood floors now. And I was like, man, I miss that carpet. You ever have like nostalgic memories of like you miss something that?
Yeah, you get a smell and it reminds you of. I think we talked about that last time I was here. Kind of something pops up in your head and you get the nostalgic feeling.
Yeah, I went over to the Sam Houston American Legion post here in Huntsville. And, they smoke in there, which those guys guys and gals have served our country. I'm not a huge, I don't go around saying, hey, you should smoke a cigarette. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you've served our country and you want to smoke a cigarette, let them smoke. It's their place, right? Some cities come in now and they start making rules on, well, you can't do that. You can't have smoke here. It's their place. Let them do what they want. Let them determine if they want to or not.
Don't go in there if you don't want to smell it.
Exactly. And so I walked in, and it's a very clean place. I'm going to say that, by the way. Very clean and organized. It's a wonderful place. They gave me a little tour of it. But you can get the hint of the cigarette smoke in there. It's just, it is what it is, right? They have the machines that pull it out. But it was actually like, I was like, man, this is kind of a good feeling, because it took me back to the days I used to hang out with Dad at the VFW all the time. He'd pick us up from school. What would we do? He called it the VF. We'd go hang out at the VF for the rest of the day. And they had a Red Baron pizza oven. My dad would always get us a Dr. Pepper and a pizza, and he'd talk to his buddies. And
that sounds good right now.
Yeah, and we'd sit there and talk to other guys that were there, and they'd tell us war stories and tell us, how proud they were to serve their country, and just talk to us. And for me as a young person, that experience growing up with folks that served our country, I think set a lot of the foundation for the things that I believe in now. And it was a really, for me, it was a cool experience that I'll never forget. And when I walked into that Sam Houston Post 95, I said, man, this takes me back. Even though it was the Legion, they're all kind of, intertwined. And I was like, this takes me back to the VFW with my dad growing up.
Cigarettes would just remind me of my grandparents.
So
It's so funny nowadays. We don't let our kids. We're not, we don't want to be around it. We don't want our kids around it. And I have a picture actually hanging on my refrigerator of my dad holding my sister and I when we were like 5 or 6 years old. He's got a cigarette in one hand, a Budweiser on the table next to him, and we're just cheesing it up, and it's no big deal. And now I can't even stand the smell of it because I'm not used to being around it anymore.
Yeah, it's crazy how times change. I remember going to Luby's. You ever go to Luby's cafeteria growing up?
Yeah.
Luby's had a smoking section.
Yep.
And it was weird because and nowadays you think about it and you're like, that really doesn't make sense. Like, why would you smoke where you eat, But that was the way it was back then.
I mean, I've watched a lot of Netflix series and stuff like that. You have things I like historical type stuff anyways. And I mean, people used to smoke in hospitals and in doctor's offices.
Surgeons are doing surgery. Like,
yeah,
he had a cigarette assistant.
and women would smoke when they were pregnant because no one knew the side, the long-term effects of doing all that stuff. And it's crazy. It's mind-boggling. I'm like, my goodness, I wouldn't even let somebody hold my kid when he was, my oldest one especially. I was like, you're not touching my kid if you've got cigarettes on your hands, the smell of it, Anyways, and just thinking back when I was growing growing up, there wasn't hardly anybody in our house that didn't smoke. It looked like the bar itself.
Well, like news growing up, you'd watch the evening news, the anchors from back in the day. Many of them there, you would see them smoke once in a while.
Well, let me go one step further. Whenever I first started working at the credit union, long time ago, like 30 years ago, and that's not an exaggeration, literally 30 years ago, there was several smokers in the that worked there, and a lot of the people that used to come in and cash their checks and stuff like that on Fridays would come in, and they'd all hang out at the teller line smoking their cigarettes and hobnobbing and shooting the mess and everything else with the employees, and all of them be smoking. And it's just crazy when I stop and think about it. I smelled probably like I had just left the bar when I left work because everybody would smoke. Obviously, that's not a thing anymore, but whenever I first started working there, that was normal. It was completely normal.
Yeah, I just found an old picture. This was probably from back in the 40s or 50s, and here was a newscaster on set with a cigarette. I remember seeing the replays of these.
Smoking was a status. It was like a big deal. Like, it was normal. So
since we're talking about this, I got two more stories. One of them was when I was broadcasting for Sam Houston State. We'd travel with football. It was always chartered, but for other sports like baseball and men's basketball, it was very rare that I was on the same plane, as them. I had to go on my own usually. Now they'd pay for it, but I'd have to go on a separate plane. And I'll never forget, I got on this one plane. It was like an old school, and I don't know what the manufacturers are. Like, it was like a DC-10, but this plane was from the 80s. And when you got on the plane, it had this musty, almost like that cigarette smell. You know what I'm talking about?
yes.
Well, sure enough, you get on it, and it's a small regional type plane. I think this thing was like really about to be decommissioned. It was at that level.
And you got on it and stayed on it?
Yeah, and literally had ashtrays on the. Of course, you can't smoke on them,
right.
But it still had the ashtrays on the plane, and I was like, man, I should have took a picture of that. It's probably the last running plane that was still in service from that era of when people would smoke on the planes.
I don't even know when the last time I actually physically saw an ashtray in use.
Yeah,
like, I guess people could buy them and use them as jewelry dishes or something. Throw your coins in. Clean out your wallet, your pockets or whatever, but I don't even see ashtrays at all, ever.
It was weird when my sister was in school. I remember her picking us up. We would get off the bus at the high school because my sister drove, and so it was cool for us to get off at the high school because we get picked up at the junior high or the elementary school, and then she was the last pickup, so we would get off the bus there and go and find her, and then she would drive us home. It was just cooler to ride home with sister, right, with big sister. Well, I'll never forget seeing students in that bus line smoking cigarettes. And it was almost like it was allowed back then, that it was okay. And my sister, if she's watching, she'll probably say, no, it wasn't. But I remember seeing that, and nobody barked about it. There was students, I vividly remember this, students smoking cigarettes waiting to get on the bus. And I guess some of them were 18, so it was like, what are you going to do, tell them no?
Right.
Now, of course, no tobacco, none of that allowed on the campus. But it's just weird memories. And one of the other vivid memories that I have, I used to bug this guy when I was in junior high to come work for him as an internet service provider. And at the time, I think I was like 14, and I just bugged him. I was like, please let me come work for you. He's like, you can't, you're too young. I was like, oh, it's hogwash. Just let me come work for you. And we had, it was a dial-up internet place. You remember the days of the dial-up?
Yep.
And I just thought it was the most fascinating little place to be in. This cool new technology that was out there that was on the, and now we just take it for granted. We need it, right?
Right.
And I finally got through to him. He's like, if you just quit calling me, you come work for me. His name's Keith Stoll. And I think at 15, he finally let me come in and work for him. And he gave me a pager, and it was a text pager, Motorola text pager. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever, right?
Did you walk around with it on your
Oh,
hip?
yeah. At school, I walked around with it. I was the only kid in school that had a pager, and back then, they didn't know what to tell you. Like, phones, when they came out, the teachers told you couldn't have them. Now it's like, whatever, sure, you can have your phone. But back then, they didn't know what it was, so that as long as it wasn't a distraction, you could do whatever you want. And so I kept that pager, and it was literally a text pager. And what would happen was when people called in with internet problems, they would call into a call service. The call service would type out the message, and then the message would come to the pager. And then I had a really cool flip phone. And so I would use that flip phone to call the customer.
Was it Motorola?
It may have been. I think it was, yeah. And it had the buttons were rubber, like white rubber, and they illuminated green.
Yep.
It was the coolest.
I probably had one of those.
Yeah, so cool. And so I remember, like, during class, that thing would start buzzing, and I'd tell the teacher I had to use the restroom, and I'd go around the corner and, like, call people and help them. And so that was, like, what I did growing up, right?
That's funny.
But the reason I thought of that is there was a lady that worked there, and, man, this woman smoked like a chimney. Real sweet woman, but she lived in the same neighborhood, so sometimes she would give me a ride home. I would usually get off the bus at 3 o'clock. You know, the bus would pick us up at 3, so I was off the bus usually by 3:30. The bus would drop me off at this internet place because I worked there. So it was like this kid going to work, you know. The bus would drop me off, and then my mom got off work usually at 10 o'clock at night, but she didn't drive, so my dad would go pick her up. So I would usually work from like 4 to 10 at this internet place, you know. And when I was in junior high, it was the coolest thing ever. And then first year in high school, and I just remember sometimes though that this lady, because she lived in the neighborhood, would give me a ride home. And I thought of this when you said I don't even see people using ashtrays anymore. That woman never cleaned hers out, and there was a mound of ashes. Have you ever been in a car like that? Like they didn't. You know, it didn't even have the cup. It was just like the ashtray was so full, and they were just like, forget it. What am I going to ever clean it out? No. Literally, there was a Mount Everest of ashes on her center console. And you'd get in the door and shut it, and like a little part of it would go poof. And a little smoke would come up out of the pile. Oh, so anyways, all right, we're going to take a break. We've had fun reminiscing this morning. We'll take a brief break. Toy and I have got it when we come back. Stay with us. Keyword not up yet. So what is it? Well, you'll find out when we do. Stay with us. More to come. It's your show on another great edition of Good Morning Huntsville. We'll be back in just a few moments.
Hey, I'm Denise Olivas, Business Account Specialist at Walker County Federal Credit Union, and our business is helping you take care of your business. In addition to personal accounts, Walker County Federal Credit Union also offers business accounts and business lending for commercial customers. We're devoted to taking care of the needs of our individual members and helping our business members with their financial success too. Call us today and find out how easy it is to work with Walker County Federal Credit Union. Member NCUA.
Welcome to Magnolia Kennel of Huntsville, where we've been caring for your furry family members for over 4 decades. Nestled at 877 IH 45 South, our kennel is a perfect retreat for your pet. With a climate-controlled facility, spacious exercise yards, we ensure a comfortable and enjoyable stay. At Magnolia Kennel, we offer a range of options including overnight boarding, extended stay boarding, and doggy day out. But that's not all. We also provide additional pampering services like baths and nail care to keep your pets looking and feeling their best. Making a reservation is a breeze at magnoliakennel.com. We take great pride in our dedication to the community, supporting our local fire departments by providing oxygen pet masks. Stay connected and enjoy adorable pet updates by following us on Facebook. Magnolia Kennel of Huntsville is where dogs get to be dogs. Visit us at magnoliakennel.com to book your pet's next stay. We can't wait to meet your 4-legged family members.
Hi, I'm Billy Cawthon, manager of Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home. We know times of loss are tough, and you need a place to feel comfortable and cared for. At Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home, we pride ourselves on being with you during those really tough days. You can rest assured that we will be on your side and by your side every step of the way. Thank you for your trust. Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home, supporting families every day, every step.
Hey friends, Rob Hipp here for Elliott's Jewelers. I wanted to take a brief moment to let you know if you're looking for someone in the jewelry business right here in Huntsville, look no further than my good friend Elliott Herslick. He's helped me out time and time again, whether it was that wedding band that I needed a while back or that special ring for Bridget. He's always been there for me. He goes above and beyond. He's also a person who gives back to the local community. I like to do business with those who give back, and that's exactly what Elliott Herslick of Elliott's Jewelers does. Hey, if you feel like you don't know what to do, maybe you don't know where to turn, what to look for, Elliott is the person. Again, it's Elliott's Jewelers. You can visit him online at elliotsjewelers.com for more information. And when you call him, let him know that you heard from his good friend Rob Hipp. Again, it's Rob here for Elliott's Jewelers. Visit him online at elliotsjewelers.com.
Here we grow again. Tomorrow's Promise is excited to announce our third location to better serve the families of Walker County and surrounding areas. At Tomorrow's Promise, we are more than just childcare. We pride ourselves on partnering with parents and creating a place where every child is respected, loved, and nurtured in the highest quality environment. See what makes us the perfect fit for your child and their needs. Schedule a tour and learn more about Montessori.
Tomorrow's Promise Academy on Veterans Memorial now open. Visit tpms.live for more information. Education you can trust. Hey friends, this is Rob Hipp, and I'm here to talk about a true expert in the real estate world. Let me introduce you to my good friend Terry Coleman of the Coleman Realty Group.
With 33 years in the business, I've dedicated my life to making your real estate dreams come true. Specializing in residential properties, I serve Walker and Montgomery counties, from Spring to Trinity and areas all around.
They call her your next door agent, and here's why.
I'm not just here to help you find a home or lease a property. I'm here to build lifelong relationships. Whether it's residential or commercial, farm or ranch listings, there's something for everyone.
Now you might wonder, what sets Terry apart from other real estate agents? Well, it's simple. She goes above and beyond for her clients, like the time she surprised a family from California with a fully decorated Christmas tree and gifts when they returned from closing. You shouldn't have to compromise on the joys of home during life-changing moments. So, if you're ready to make your real estate dreams come true, here's what you need to do.
Visit my website at myrealtorterry.com and let's make those dreams a reality.
That's Terry Coleman, your expert in all things real estate.
I'm Terry Coleman, your next door agent, and I can't wait to help you open the door to your new life.
The Oak Ridge Disciple House is a faith-based 501c3 nonprofit Christian character building ministry helping men 18 and older who are suffering from drug and alcohol addictions. If you or someone you know needs help, there is light at the end of the tunnel, and that light can be found through the Oak Ridge Disciple House. For more information, visit oakridgedisciplehouse.com.
Hey friends, this is Rob Hipp, and I'm here to talk about a true expert in the real estate world. Let me introduce you to my good friend Terry Coleman of the Coleman Realty Group.
With 33 years in the business, I've dedicated my life to making your real estate dreams come true. Specializing in residential properties, I serve Walker and Montgomery counties, from Spring to Trinity and areas all around.
They call her your next door agent, and here's why.
I'm not just here to help you find a home or lease a property. I'm here to build lifelong relationships. Whether it's residential or commercial, farm or ranch listings, there's something for everyone.
Now you might wonder, what sets Terry apart from other real estate agents? Well, it's simple. She goes above and beyond for her clients, like the time she surprised a family from California with a fully decorated Christmas tree and gifts when they returned from closing. You shouldn't have to compromise on the joys of home during life-changing moments. So, if you're ready to make your real estate dreams come true, here's what you need to do.
Visit my website at myrealtorterry.com and let's make those dreams a reality.
That's Terry Coleman, your expert in all things real estate.
I'm Terry Coleman, your next door agent, and I can't wait to help you open the door to your new life.
In the heart of East Texas, where the party would stand tall, there's a place that's filled with history where warm hearts call. From Big Sam to the Bearcats, pride runs deep and strong. In Huntsville, Texas, we sing our song. With love and hospitality, we open up our doors. In this beautiful town, blessings we explore. Sting 'em Hornets, beat 'em up Cats.
All right, back at it. And speaking of Stingham Hornets, how about the keyword this week, Toy?
Buzzy.
Little B-U-Z-Z-Y.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to honor
back to school.
Back to school coming up. So that is the keyword, Buzzy. And I was thinking about what to give away, and it's been a long time since I've given away some Cafe Texan gift cards. And I'm kind of making what do you call it? What do you call that? Like whenever you make an executive decision. I know Tiffany will hook us up. It's been a couple of months since we've asked for them. So I'm going to give away some gift card. I'm going to give away a gift card to Cafe Texan this morning. All I got to do is call over there. They're so generous to us, and we promote what they do throughout the year. So today, gift card coming your way to Cafe Texan, and all you got to do is text in the keyword. It is Buzzy, B-U-Z-Z-Y. That is on the 0 Degree Creations phone and text line at 936-339-0139. Again, that number 936-339-0139. As we continue on this marvelous Monday, a lot of new friends joining us, by the way. We'll get to some of your comments that are coming in on the social media streams here in just a few moments. We are here on this Monday. As always, a huge thank you to Walker County Federal Credit Union. They are your financial experts here in Huntsville for all of your financial needs. Give them a call. If there's something that they can't answer, they will shoot you in the right direction, but more than likely they can help you and take care of you. That's what you guys are in the business of doing, and you've been doing it for just a little while, right?
Just for a minute.
Have I ever asked you, like, how did you get into where you're at? Have I ever asked you that? Can I ask you, Toy?
Yeah, you're actually, it's not really an exciting story. I, like most other kids in high school, don't want to stay at school all day, so I got in what they call the co-op program.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
I went to school half a day and went to work half a day. My co-op teacher, which was Miss Tracy, and in fact, I think she recently passed away, arranged 2 job interviews for me, one at the credit union and one at TDC. And I got a call from the credit union before I did the one at TDC, and I accepted immediately. Started there August 8th, 1994.
Wow. 94 seems like it was like yesterday, but it was a long time ago.
It's a long time ago.
Wow. What happens to time?
You blinked. You lived. Yeah, so
you did good.
So I got Huntsville High School. It was my end to sticking around here.
So you've been at WCFCU since 94?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that is awesome. I never knew that.
Yep, 1994.
1994. See, and this is what I love about Huntsville, because we were talking in between the commercial break about, you know, you went to school there and most of your family. I mean, everybody went to Huntsville. That's where the keyword came from today, because we wanted to honor back to school coming up here before. Was it the 19th, I think, is when the kids go back?
Yep, 19th.
But it's so cool. It's what I love about Huntsville, and that's what I love about WCFCU. Not to sit here and, you know, just make up stuff. The truth is, you've been there since 94. There's not a lot of folks that can say that they've been at the same institution for that many years, and it shows your dedication and loyalty to an organization that's, of course, supported you and your family, but it's supported this community.
I'm going to say that I had a wonderful boss, and he afforded me opportunities that I may not have been able to have anywhere else, and very thankful for his support and his confidence in me and his trust in me and allowing me to fulfill my dreams and goals, I guess, if you will. And I literally started in the file room and worked my way up. Now I'm the head janitor.
I like that. The head custodian over there at Walker County. So if you see her with a mop, you tell her you appreciate her. I'm sure you've grabbed a few mops in the day too over there.
I vacuum my office floor every once in a while and dust my desk. So yeah,
it counts. Yeah.
I try to leave everybody else's space alone, but I'll clean up my own every once in a while.
It's good, because if somebody says, "Why do you do that for me?" You say, "Well, I just didn't want to interrupt your workspace." You know, that's what I tell Bridget. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, you're getting dish duty tonight, buddy.
A couple of comments came in here too. We'll get to those here in just a second. Kyle Kreiner mentioned this. We were talking about it. Ignite went back to school today.
Yes.
Man, they wrap all the way around that building over there.
Yep. I heard there's a waiting list for students to go to school there.
Is that like are they considered a public school or like a charter school?
It's a charter school, unfortunately I'm not well versed in all that, but I believe that it gets funding from somewhere, but I'm not sure exactly how that all plays out.
A lot of folks joining us this morning here on the show. We'll get to some of those comments. Quentin Glaze, our #1 engager. He comments, he likes, he shares, he always helps us. Quentin, appreciate you. He is joining us with a little good morning sunshine icon coming our way today. Good to see you, Quentin. Jennifer Augustinetti, who chimed in earlier, she said good morning. It's a magnificent Monday. Y'all have a blessed week. Deneen Thompson over at Guardian Defense. Good morning, Dee, joining us today here on the show. New comment coming in, Robert Kane. I don't know if I've seen Robert comment before. That's what I love about this show. We always have new folks engaging with us. Robert saying good morning to us. Kyle Kreiner, the brisketeer of Huntsville. You like a good brisket?
I love a good brisket.
Have you ever had a Kyle Kreiner brisket?
I have not.
All right. Here is your chance, Huntsville, and your chance too, Toy, to get a Kyle Kreiner brisket. August the 15th. Want you all to write this down or click on the link, but if you go to our website at hellohuntsvilletx.com/dinner, please RSVP. It's coming up here in just 10 days. Man, I can't believe it's going to be that quick. We are doing a wonderful thank you dinner to the community. We have 50 spots available. We've already had about 28 RSVP, so there's still time. But you can come. Toy, if you guys can, bring your husband, bring y'all's child, the family. Y'all are all welcome. But this will be on August the 15th at 6 p.m. It's a Thursday night at the Sam Houston Community Room, just right next door to you guys.
Yep, I'll just park and walk across.
Yeah, we need to have it a little bit earlier. That way you can just come, during the workday. But 6 o'clock on Thursday, come on over. Kyle is doing putting up some awesome briskets for us. We will also have pork butt, so it's just going to be the whole thing. We've had folks that have been so gracious to say, hey, I'll bring something. It's not a potluck, don't worry, but we got folks that we trust that cook good food that are going to be bringing stuff. And so we're going to have potato salad. I've asked Bridget to do twice-baked potatoes. We're just going to have a good time. And we wanted to say thank you from Hello Huntsville to all of our foundation support, such as you guys at Walker County Federal. I know Karen's going to be there as well. But we also wanted to thank the community for those of you that have been part of our platform and that engage with us. And if you're watching, maybe it's your first time, we don't care. Come out and have some fun. But you got to RSVP. Quentin, man, you're our number one engager, so you got to RSVP. We'd love to see you there. Go to hellohuntsvilletx.com/dinner right now and RSVP to make sure that you secure your spot. Like I said, I think we've got about, last time I looked, we had 28 or so, and my math is pretty bad, but that should be 18 remaining. So we got 18 spots remaining, and we would love to have you come out. So please come out and be a part of our community dinner, our very first one. And we're going to try to do this at least twice a year, maybe once a quarter. But for sure, twice a year is what we want to do. And I decided when we launched Hello Huntsville, I always wanted to do this, but we had to wait till we got some momentum. Well, the momentum's going now, and so we want to slap some brisket on it. So come on out, be a part of it, and you will.
That would be 22 spots, I believe.
22, yeah. My math. What did I say, 18?
Yeah, and I'm over here, agreeing with you, and I'm like, that is not correct.
See, that's what I love about WCFC. You go in, you deposit $100, maybe it shows up as $1,000. You never know. One time
he's hoping that we'll multiply it.
Yeah, and then when the audit comes through, like, well, bank error, you don't get this returned in your favor. Sorry. I'll never forget, Toy, one time at my local bank in Georgetown. And sometimes the money sticks together, and I'd got back home, and I noticed I had an extra $100, and the thought crosses your mind, but then the moral kicks in of like, this ain't right, and so I was like, man, that's an extra $100, but I'm gonna do the right thing. I'm gonna go take it back to him, and I did, and that woman was so ecstatic, and she's like, please, I gave it right back to the person who gave it to me. She's like, please don't tell it was a younger girl. She's like, please don't tell my boss. She's like, we haven't counted yet, and that would have really messed me up. And I was like, don't worry about it. Everyone makes mistakes. But yeah, it was a brand new crisp $100
That's what
bill.
Those new little machines that they use in the teller area help avoid a lot of that. Those sticky bills and stuff like that. But new bills are a pain in the hind end. I know they look pretty, but they are hard to count out.
All the security features and everything. I know you guys just had a conference there in Vegas, right? With
Well, yeah, I was the one that went, but it was for it was a leadership conference.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, credit union. It's so funny. I was telling one of my kids, I was like, it's funny when you go to these conferences and you're hearing everything's about credit union. And it's like, these people are speaking my jam. I know all this stuff. So, but yeah, it was, I went with we use CU Evolutions to help with our business accounts and business lending piece, and I'm on their board, and I went with them to help promote that business. It was nice for them to have a live credit union that uses them to help during the exhibit hall type of thing anyways. And so it's nice to get to share our good experience with them, because it has been a very good experience.
I wanted to ask you a little bit behind the scenes how this works. So I use y'all's remote check deposit all the time, and I just got through saying not many people write checks. There's still a lot of businesses that write checks.
Right.
I was talking about a lot of personal, folks writing checks. Whenever I take a picture of that check, it goes into pending. I'm assuming there's somebody. Do they do that like in your office? Are they looking and then they have to manually approve and all that? Oh, that's cool. So see, it's not all automated.
It is not.
That's
We have several employees that have the capability of going in. One or two people primarily do it, but we do have multiple people that have access to it. So they go in and look for certain things, certain criteria, make sure it's endorsed properly, make sure that there's many things that are taken into account. If there needs to be a hold on it, if it needs to be moved from savings to checking, or whatever the case may be, they review it and decide what needs to be done with
cool.
it.
So whenever you do those check deposit, there is somebody. It's not a
Absolutely.
computer. Over at
It's just
Washington
like you're
Federal.
pulling it, going to the teller line, and they're looking at it, reviewing it, and determining whether or not it's legit or, whatever.
Yeah.
So
We, back in the day, I was talking, and this probably won't work anymore, but somebody was telling me that years ago, checks require certain pieces of information. Like, you got to have the routing number, you got to have the account number, the check number, the name, the amount, all that stuff. Somebody had told me, they're like, oh yeah, this bank, if you don't have any of that, you can take in a piece of notebook paper as long as you write down everything, and they'll process it like a check. Now, I know it don't work that way anymore. Like, I probably couldn't come in with
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
However, you can use your account number and routing number to give to a merchant or to a vendor or whatever to debit your account, but they have to be connected to the Fed and all that good stuff. So you can use some of that information to create an electronic check or whatever, but I've never heard of anybody bringing in a notebook piece of paper or blank piece of typing paper.
And we're talking, and this was like years and years ago. I mean, we're talking like way back in the day, and, it was like a one-off small little family bank. It's just
that could be.
That don't work that way anymore.
It does not.
The Fed won't allow that.
The Fed will not. The Fed will not allow that. And microlines have to be pre-printed and sometimes special ink. And
yeah, my dad used to print it. My uncle got on this kick of like doing his own checks, and because of him, my dad got into it. And I had to buy that MICR toner because it's magnetic.
Right.
So I had to buy that, and then I designed the actual checks in Microsoft Word, and so we would print them on the correct paper with the routing number, because I had the MICR font. And my dad used to make me print his check. I said, Dad, you understand your bank gives you free. It was back in the day, they'd give them free checks. I said, the bank gives you free checks. Just use those. He's like, no, I just feel better about you doing it. I was like, I'd feel better about them doing it. But I would print his checks for him.
Yep.
And that was a thing back in the day. Now it's, don't
Now they
do
take
that.
your checks and wash them and use, that's what they call it whenever they are creating fraudulent checks. They'll steal checks out of the mail and wash them and
write up their own stuff.
Yeah.
Not good.
No.
Couple of things today. On this day, we're going to switch gears. On this day, and we'll get over to our 0 Degree phone line here in just a few moments. On this day, 1620, so way before we were born, the Pilgrims left England on the Mayflower. That's why we're here today. So thank you, Pilgrims. The first ever moving ship. It's kind of, some of these are kind of corny little jokes on the end. The Pilgrims left England aboard the Mayflower as the Beckons wasn't quite ready to sail yet. That's another ship. These are always, I should review these before I read them. Their hope was to arrive in the land of America in time for Thanksgiving. So I think they made it, right?
I think so.
That was where the phrase "Are we there yet?" was born, by the way. That was a long journey.
Sure. My husband's aunt took my two older kids when they were little. We went, I don't remember where we were, but anyways, it was a trip, and at least to little kids, it was a long trip, and they kept asking, "Are we there yet? How much longer? 5 more minutes." Every time they'd ask, 5 more minutes.
My dad used to always say, He would always say 80. That was always his word. Like, how fast are we going, Dad? 80. How many miles until we get there? 80. Everything was 80. On this date in 1858, the first transatlantic telegraph cable was completed. We're talking about a cable underwater, transatlantic, under the entire ocean. That was 1858. Think about that. Back then, they had the technology to do that. Up until that time, you had to be in England to call up the castle and ask Prince Albert ask if Prince Albert was in the can. Talking about the tobacco. Another corny one. In 1861, the very first U.S. income tax was levied. It was a whopping 3%. This should be National Bad Idea Day. So that was back in 1861. 1914, check this out. The very first traffic light went into operation in Cleveland, Ohio. 1914. You know, back in the day, they used to have the lamplighter. Did you ever hear about this? Like not talking about traffic light, but street lights.
Right.
There was guys on stilts that would walk around and light those every night.
I did not know that.
Pretty crazy. Yeah, I remember hearing about that in history a long time ago. Pretty cool here. In this date, in 1921, the very first radio baseball broadcast was heard on KDKA Pittsburgh. The Pirates in that game beat the Phillies 8-5. And, of course, in those days, the games, it was just over the air. There was no TV. Fans enjoyed it, but critics complained it was like listening to grass grow. Oh, man, pretty cool. 1926, Harry Houdini, the magician, stayed in a coffin underwater for 1.5 hours. That was impressive. That record, though, has been broken a lot more since then, but back then that was impressive. And today is Goodbye Day, National Goodbye. We're about to say goodbye here in just a few moments on the show. Norma Jean Day, National Oyster Day. Are you an oyster fan?
I'll eat baked oysters, but I will not eat raw.
Oh, I just had that.
Just ugh.
I can taste them right now.
Gives me.
Yeah, like the how you just got is how I get when I'm thinking of someone touching a balloon. I hate that sound. The only way I'll eat those oysters, you got to have lemon. You have to squeeze it, and they have to be on a cracker, and then you throw them down.
You're not even tasting it.
I know. That's why. That's the way to do it. You put lemon in a cracker and throw it down, and you're good. It's also national. Hey, check this. It's National Work Like a Dog Day today. So there you go. And also National Underwear Day today, Toy. So it's
hopefully everybody got them on.
Yeah, they've covered just about everything today. A couple of other things here as we go through the final of this. Some things you need to know. They say that Tom Cruise will have a part in the Olympics closing ceremony coming up this week. You know, I haven't really watched any of the Olympics.
We haven't either.
I used to be like super into it. I'm just not that into it anymore. They say that Tom Cruise will have an opening part. It's kind of cool, though. He will skydive to the Hollywood sign during an orchestrated handoff to Los Angeles for the 2028 Olympics. Now, that's pretty cool. Tom Cruise skydiving to the Hollywood sign.
I don't care for him either, but
it's pretty cool still.
Yeah, it is.
It'd be cooler if you were doing it.
It would be cooler if somebody else was doing it.
Big shocker here. Were you an Aerosmith fan?
I listened to Aerosmith.
They canceled all their future shows, retiring from touring, saying that Steven Tyler hoped for recovery from vocal issues. It's not possible. So all those years, Aerosmith done. I believe it was Aerosmith. The drummer for Aerosmith lived in Georgetown for a time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was. There's a neighborhood out there that was a pretty prominent neighborhood called Cimarron Hills. Nolan Ryan built a house out there, and there was a couple of other people that you've heard of, and Aerosmith's drummer was one of them back in the day. That was our claim to fame back in the day in Georgetown. I remember they said that Nolan was going to attend like First Baptist Church, and there were some folks there. I didn't go to that church. We went to another one. But they had made a special announcement of like, now Nolan Ryan has stated that he's going to be coming here, and please treat him like anyone else. Don't bother him. And I guess they never did. So kind of cool. A couple of other things here. It's so much politics going on right now with the election that I don't get into any of those.
Yeah, let's not even talk about it.
Yeah, we won't. New NFL kickoff rule was introduced in last Thursday night's preseason. I didn't even know there was a preseason game in the NFL already. Instead of defenders lining up alongside kickers and then sprinting down the field to meet blockers head-on, 2 rows of players now have to wait to move until after the ball is either caught or hits the ground. So some new rules in the NFL. Korean Air will no longer provide economy class passengers with instant noodles on long flights. After turbulence incident 3 months ago, rough air currents left an elderly passenger on another airline passed away and dozens other injured. So no more noodles on Korean Air. Man, that's
No more Southwest flights in or out of Bush after this weekend either.
Are you serious?
Serious.
What happened?
I think that Southwest is cutting costs, and that's one of them. So I think they're all shifted to Hobby.
Boy, if you hear of Southwest doing something like that, things aren't going good because that's not like them.
Mm-mm.
And they're also getting rid of the pick your seat. They decided after all that was their kind of claim to fame.
Right.
They are getting rid of Southwest Airlines, getting rid of that pick your seat, and I wonder if because of that's going to introduce first class now because Southwest has never had first class, and maybe that's why
They do have business class because I flew it to and from Vegas last week. But yeah, Southwest is no longer flying in and out of Bush.
Wow. Today's impossible question real quick. You can think about this, and then we'll get over to our phone line. According to new data, the average person makes 3 of these daily. New data, the average person makes 3 of what every day? 3 of what, Toy?
Bad decisions.
Maybe it could tie into that. That could tie into that. So real quick, one other thing before we get over to our phone line. I do want to remind you that keyword. You got another opportunity to text in to win this morning. We've got some Cafe Texan gift card we're giving away. Keyword is Buzzy on the 0 Degree Creations phone and text line at 936-339-0139. Again, text that in. And maybe, I did want to give this disclaimer, maybe you're watching or listening to the show afterwards because a lot of folks do that. They can't watch in the morning. They'll go back throughout the day. You can text in this word at any time from now until Friday at 8:30 in the morning. In fact, we encourage you to text in once a day because each day that'll make more chances for you to win. So you can text in more than once a week. You can text in once per day, and it doesn't have to be live during the show. So I wanted to make sure that folks know that. So if you're listening later on, keyword is Buzzy, B-U-Z-Z-Y. And again, text that in along with your name on that 0 Degree Creations phone and text line at 936-339-0139. One last thing here before we get over, and I'll answer that question. Kyle Kreiner mentioned, we were talking about what is that longest, what was it, the 9 yards or whatever?
Yep.
The whole 9. He said 9 yards was the length of an ammunition belt on a fighter plane. When the pilot gave it all 9 yards, he used all the ammunition.
Okey-dokey.
There you go.
So there you go.
Yeah.
See, it wasn't even football related.
Very important stuff folks are learning on the show this morning, by the way. All right, well, let's get over to our line here. I've had a few entries come in this morning. Usually we have quite a bit, but we got that started up a little bit late this morning, so we're just waiting on the software.
Oh, yeah. I have some very important information for you.
Uh-oh.
People have said they're tired of waiting on that cookie oven.
It's in the garage. So Bridget is there. Her and the children are in Galveston with her family. I'm going Thursday afternoon. That gives me a few days to get the oven ready. I told Karen it is
She
coming.
said no more excuses.
That was the final one. It's now I have time to do it. That oven is coming this week to Walker County Federal. If not, they said they're going to pull their sponsorship of the show. So it's
right.
coming.
Cookies or nothing.
All right, here we go. Let's head over to our 0 Degree Creations phone and text line.
Morning.
Hello. Hello, ma'am. Are you at work right now?
I am, but I'm working from home, so we're good.
Okay, we'll hurry. It's Jennifer Augustinetti. When Jennifer wins, you got to be careful because sometimes she's working, and we got her in trouble one time. Did we ever get?
No, I've never gotten in trouble.
Oh,
I just had to sneak away to another room.
Yeah, she was like this. She's like, "Hey, I'm at work right now. What's going on? Did I win?" Well, Jennifer, congratulations. Hey, have you ever won the gift card to Cafe Texan?
I did the last time around.
Did you use it?
Mm-hmm. Yes, me and my best friend went and had breakfast.
Well, awesome.
Yes,
well, you'll get to use it again. I'm going to pick those up from Tiffany either today or tomorrow. So anytime after Wednesday, we'll have that ready for pickup. How does that sound?
Okay, that'll work. I can come on. Now I have an hour lunch break instead of 30 minutes, so I could definitely swing by on my lunch break.
Hey, is the work that you do, is there some way we could set up some sort of automated thing where you could just step away and it still does stuff? Like an AI?
Kinda.
You want me to help you program like an AI bot that can respond to people?
No, I don't want to do that.
We can record, right? So we're extending the...
Trying to get rid of her?
Yeah, no, what we can do, Jennifer, is we can record your voice, and then we can use AI to respond if you're answering calls and stuff, and they'll think it's you. And then boom, and then you just take a week off. No one will ever. You get the Employee of the Year award because they'll say that you work like 24 hours straight in one stretch.
No, I wouldn't do that. Most of my calls are outgoing, so yeah, they're not incoming calls. Mostly, I'm just doing a lot of background work on the computer, but yeah,
Gotcha.
It's all good.
All right. Well, Toy's here from Walker County Federal Credit Union.
Hi, good morning.
All right. Well, we'll get that to you. Before you go, what do you love most about Huntsville, Jennifer? It's got to be something that you've never said before because you've won a few times on this show.
I know I have. Just the amount of churches that we have. It's awesome. It's like there's a church like for everybody. There shouldn't be any excuse for anybody to say, "Oh, I don't have a church," because we have so many great churches. I mean, your church, Calvary Baptist, Northside, which is where I go. I mean, there are so many awesome churches. I mean,
Covenant.
for really any denomination. And, I mean, it's just awesome that even though it's a small community, we have a lot of churches. So it's like there's a place for everybody. So it's just a matter of, people getting out there and visiting and finding their church home.
I love that, Jim.
There's one everywhere.
It's really just a matter of opening up your front door and taking 5 steps, and you're there.
Yes, because they're everywhere, yes, which is good. I mean,
Yeah, you can stop by a church
for
on your.
Huntsville to be small. There's a lot.
You can stop by on your way back from getting groceries. See, it's perfect.
Definitely. So yeah, if you're in the market for a new church home, just get out and visit. That's what me and my parents did. We just visited and hopped around to a couple different ones, and the Holy Spirit will let you know when you're in the right place. So just definitely, if you don't have a church home yet, get out, visit, and you'll know when you're at the right place.
All right. Well, love that message from you, Jennifer. Appreciate you very much, and thanks for always engaging with us. Have a blessed day.
Y'all too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, there she is, Jennifer. The first time she ever texted, I was like, man, how do I say her last name? And then it was so easy. It's Augustanetti.
Augustanetti.
Yeah, you think of August and a neti, like a neti pot. I was joking with her. I said, is it like a neti pot? You remember? Did you ever use one of those things?
No.
Oh, yeah, they're horrible. I used one once, and Bridget actually bought me this machine that it pumps water through your nose.
I can't.
I used it like twice. Here's our impossible question before we go. I said, according to new data, the average person makes 3 of what? 3 of these every single day. The answer, you said, what was it?
Bad decisions.
Bad decision. This kind of ties into it because if you do this, then maybe you don't make a bad decision or you upset someone. Compromises. People make 3 compromises on average every day. Think about it. In your brain, you may be having a battle like, am I going to go eat here or go eat here? And then you're compromising with yourself of where to go eat today.
I guess so. Well, there you go.
All right. Hey, for all of your banking needs, it's not a bank, it's a credit union. There's a difference because when you walk into a credit union, you're going to feel like family. And the best one in this area that I can say because I go there is Walker County Federal Credit Union. They will take care of you. I've never had – it was funny. For the first time in my life, I literally had to wait the other day. And – I forgot who came up to me. Someone came up and said, so sorry you have to wait, Rob. It'll be just a few months. Like they were nervous that I had to wait. I said, I don't mind at all. The chairs were comfortable. It was like a 5-minute wait. That's typical in all these other places. Not knocking anybody, but it's true. You guys, it's always like bam, bam, I'm in and out. It was nice to have to wait for 5 minutes. So thank y'all that I had to wait that day.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed the chair. I'm glad we have a comfortable chair for you to sit and wait in.
Kyle, by the way, said, I do have to mention this because I said according to the average person makes 3 of these every day. Kyle said, I sure hope it's not a bowel movement.
Oh, gosh.
Kyle, agree with you, man. All right, well, that'll wrap it up. It's been a lot of fun. Just you and I hanging out today, Toy. It's been a blast.
I enjoyed it.
So we'll wrap it up.
My cheeks hurt from smiling.
Is your young one with you today?
No, she's not.
Okay.
She's with my mom.
Sometimes we take breaks, and then you got to make sure everything's good.
She likes to. I let her stream while or watch movies while we're in here.
We'll have to give her the Wi-Fi password next time.
No. She doesn't need to know that. I keep her restricted.
We'll be back at it tomorrow. The Thompson family joining us along with Terry Coleman, our real estate expert, with some updates. And all week we've got a great shows lined up. So please make sure that you subscribe. Share this broadcast, whether it's live right now or later. We appreciate each and every one of you and all of our friends that are joining us. Can't wait to be back at it tomorrow morning at 7:30. Quick reminder again, Randy Thompson memorial service coming up at 10 a.m. So please, if you knew Randy or knew of his restaurant, please go and support the family today. I know that would mean the world to them. That's over at Grace. I think I said Calvary.
You did say Calvary. It's Grace Baptist on 19.
19. It's Grace Baptist. I said Calvary because they're tied into kind of that the Calvary Baptist Church kind of deal, but Grace Baptist Church at 10 a.m. So that'll wrap it up. We'll be back at it tomorrow, 7:30 as I end every show, reminding you this morning that we're not strong enough alone to make it on our own. We're really not. We need each other. So please provide a word of encouragement. Lend a hand of support. Huntsville, somebody out there needs you. Till tomorrow morning. Good morning, Huntsville, and God bless. We'll see you.
Bye.